Weekend out at Santa Anita Saturday. It is the Santa Anita Handicap. 4 graded stakes races on the card. Kentucky Derby points on the line in the San Felipe. There's a mandatory payout in the pick 6. That's going to be a big prize pool to shoot for. And we have those pick'em contests. They are back, totally free to enter. $500 to the winner. That's the best way to make money when you don't have to put up an entry fee and you can win money and you can take a free shot at this every Saturday, every Sunday. Eric, we haven't been here for a while. They had a cancellation with some weather. It feels like we haven't done one of these in forever. How you doing, buddy?
Feeling pretty good. I got no complaints and looking forward to a good weekend of sports.
Yeah, this is the sort of the end of the college basketball season. We have the final regular season weekend, and then next week is all conference tournaments. And 2 weeks, we'll be 2 weeks from right now. It's going to be one of those awesome NCAA tournament days when those first couple days of the NC tournament when there's 16 games going. So lots going to happen over the next few weeks in the worlds of sports. And for those of you who don't know about these particular contests, these are contests that are prop contests that combine mainstream sports other than horse racing, like basketball, football, baseball. In this particular Saturday, a lot of college basketball games, along with a lot of questions about the Santa Anita card, because it's a big Saturday at Santa Anita, so you would expect there to be a few more about the races there at Santa Anita. So, Eric, you and I actually do a college basketball show, a preview show every single week on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. And that's recorded over at BTV Bets on Twitter. If anyone is a college basketball fan and wants to get a little bit more information about these games that we'll dive on into, just some of the specifics. Pick'em.santaanita.com. This thing is totally free to enter. It does not cost you a cent. All you have to do is register for a free account. If you win $500 that day. And our buddy Eric won, and he has been a winner of this contest before. Each of these is just a 1 point per selection. So again, the horses that if you're asked to pick the winner of a race, the odds of a horse don't matter. If you're asked to pick a line in a game, it doesn't matter if you're talking about an underdog or a heavy favorite. If you just asked to pick the game straight up, all that matters is pick the winner. It's pretty basic, it's pretty simple, but the questions are difficult, Eric, because they combine all these sports and they really do test our knowledge. So let's dive in, buddy. We kick things off with the Santa Anita Pick 6 pool as the tiebreaker. This thing is tough. I think you and I were sort of talking it out, feeling like between 3 and 4 million might be a good range. I kind of went 3,350,000 as my selection here for the tiebreaker in what the pool could be. What was your guess going to be here?
I just went totally random. I went $3,571,321.
Yeah, we're both sort of in that range between 3 and 4. You and I are both in like the 3 to 3.5 million. How we're looking at the possible pool for the Santa Anita Pick 6 on Saturday. Now we dive in, and all you have to do each time you make a selection, it'll let you know, which is great. And Eric, you and I talk about it. I love those alerts, and I love that everything is immediately saved. How many times through the years have you filled out like a fantasy lineup or something, and then you forgot to press save, and then all of a sudden you look at and you're like, what the hell? Didn't I make that move yesterday? I like that they just instantly save everything, and then you get an email right away to let you know.
That's the best because we all have a million things going on. I mean, you have a young kid, you know how it is with like running around.
How many shows did you record today? 6 shows that you recorded today alone?
Yeah.
So like you sit down for a few minutes and you start, right? You do a couple of these sometimes and then you forget. It reminds you that you still have to finish up, and it lets you know every time you do. So the way they built this, it's a really good feature. And honestly, I don't think we even talk about this enough. It's super user friendly. It's just really easy to make your pick all the way through. It's not like you have to keep select, save a bunch of different times. It's just boom, make your pick, and you're on to the next one. So we are on to number 1, Eric. Who's going to win race number 1?
I went with number 5, Pratt on the Mount. Has a start on Santa Anita before he ran up last time.
Yep, he was second last time out, took the lead, conclude as the horse to beat in here. Eric, I'm not sure if you were a fan of Cheers, but I was a big fan of old Sam Mayday Malone over slinging the bar at Cheers. So Sam Malone is the name of number 3, who is named after one of the great characters in TV history. This is a move that John Sadler used to do quite a bit. He would claim horses out of these really high-level maiden claiming races, kind of put them off for a bit and then bring them back in his barn. They'd show some improvement. This horse he claimed for $150 for Hronis Racing, and now they're going to bring back and put on the turf. I think it's a little interesting in here. So I'm going to give Sam Malone a little bit of a look here, and Sammy Malone in race number 1 is the play for me. Let's keep rolling along, Eric. For number 2, just a straight play in the Texas versus Kansas game. 2 really good basketball teams. It looks like Kansas is probably going to get a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. I think unless they'd have like a really quick outing in the Big 12 tournament, because they were the outright Big 12 champ, and that was the best conference in America this year. So you wonder, in a game like this, they're going on the road and playing at Texas. Like, I'm not saying they wave the white flag, but they don't have a ton, quite as much to play for, really. Like, they have everything locked up in this game. Texas, I think, on the other hand, probably would gain a lot from a win over Kansas. Texas is looking to improve their seeding right now. You probably see them in like the 2 lines, maybe like a high 3 seed in some spots. Texas, a 2.5-point favorite on this line. What do you think about this game?
Kansas has already clinched the Big 12. Senior day in Texas. Kids after they have won a championship. It's a no-brainer to me. Texas minus 2.5.
I completely agree. I'm also on the Texan side. Hook 'em horns. Can't believe I just said that. Ugh. Let's move to Connecticut versus Villanova. Eric, Nova is hot right now. This is a team that has had a really disappointing year. We can be honest. They have not been very good throughout most of the year. But recently, they have 3 straight wins in that stretch. They beat Xavier and Creighton, and they're 10-2 at home. Connecticut's won 4 in a row, but they're 5-5 on the road. I think this is a pretty good spot for Villanova at home.
I absolutely love Villanova here. I locked them in myself. I bet this. My thought process is this: when you look at their splits, when Moore was there and when Moore's not been there, completely different team with what he can do in terms of closing the game. Probably not number 1 ball handler, guards their best guard. And UConn's locked in to their seeding line for the Big East tournament unless Creighton loses to DePaul, which obviously isn't going to happen because DePaul is an utter train wreck. So I absolutely love Villanova here.
Yeah, me too. We're both on the side of the home dog here with Villanova. Let's move to number 4 on the prop contest questions. And this one just asks us to pick the winner of race number 5. Race number 5 is a very nice stakes race. It's the Grade 2 Buena Vista Fillies and Mares 4-year-olds and up, going a mile on the turf course here. Eric, were you on the 4? Is that right in here, Kitty Katana?
Yes, obviously. Phil DeMott as the trainer. I like the tactical speed for it with how the race shapes up.
I actually really think this horse
is got a big 5 School Dance. My bad.
Okay, so you're on the 5 School Dance. So both the 4 and the 5 Phil D'Amato runners, Kitty Katana and School Dance. It's funny because they both do have a little bit of tactical speed, so that probably would have fit for either one of them. Pratt's on the 4, Kitty Katana. You have Ramon Vasquez on the 5. So if Eric goes School Dance and he makes that pick, it lets you know your pick has been made. I'm gonna go to the outside, I think, with the number 8, Nadette in here. I think Nadette's going to improve second start back. I'm expecting third start back, putting 2 starts together. Nadette was very impressive first start in the U.S. and then a little disappointing last time out, but showed a lot more speed. And with that race under the belt, I'm expecting a better effort. I'm going Nadette with Dettori on the outside. So that's number 4. We move to number 5. That asks us to pick the winner of race number 6. Eric, this is an important race. We will probably see 1 or 2 of these horses in the Kentucky Derby, in 2 months from now. So National Treasure is a horse who will take a ton of support in here. Hijazi, Go Rocket, Ride, Skinner, they're also going to take a lot of support in here. Was your play one of them, or were you looking in a different direction?
I took the number 8. I like the stretch. I like the stretch out in distance.
This horse was really impressive in his debut. He was fast. That was going 6 furlongs. And I've watched some of his workouts in the morning. They're working him with a target. So they're showing him how to pass horses. They're really doing a nice job of like training him along the way. And I'm expecting a big effort from Go Rocket Ride for Eric. For me, looking at horses like National Treasure would be fine. I'm also okay with Skinner. And I think just because Skinner's at slightly lower than some of the other major players, I would lean Skinner because I'm fine with Go Rocket Ride. I'm fine with National Treasure. But I'm looking at Skinner as a horse who I liked quite a bit last year. And wow, he put it all together in his first start as a 3-year-old. It was really impressive. He's a closer. He will come running late. So if the horse you like, Eric, Go Rocket Ride, ends up going a little too fast and him and Hijazi and maybe one or two others in here show some speed, I think Skinner gets the trip. So Skinner for me, as we move to one of the biggest and best rivalries in all of sports, Duke, North Carolina in college basketball. But Eric, how weird is it when you look at a game like this and neither of these teams are ranked or really all that great this year?
Yeah, both these teams have been a huge disappointment. I have to take the home team here, as crazy as it sounds.
I know.
I don't like either one of the teams, but with what's going on, I have to take the home team.
I think so too. I think there's probably a little bit better value there with Duke or with North Carolina, excuse me. It's not as if either of these teams have been impressive, but North Carolina has actually won 3 games in a row and they're starting to play kind of like they did last year towards the end of the year. So yeah, I'd lean Carolina. Duke's only 3-6 on the road this year. Yeah. Duke won this first matchup by 6. I'm leaning North Carolina also. So we're both on Carolina as the winner of Duke, North Carolina, straight up. I mean, when you just look at it in a very simple sense, Carolina is what, like a 2.5 point favorite. Mm-hmm. So we're getting 2.5 points just by picking them straight up. I mean, if you're always, for as often as we bet, if we were always 2.5 points on the right side of the line, we'd make a lot of money, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we just have to pick it. We don't have to win with margin. I mean, that's basically the best way of thinking about it.
Yep. Let's keep rolling along, Eric. Leading scorer in the Bucks 76ers. You are a Milwaukee Bucks fan, and they've been playing some good basketball. Typically, it's Giannis, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton for the 76ers. They're big boys, Embiid, Harden, Tyrese Maxey, or we could go other, which would take care of everyone else. Who do you see as the leading scorer here?
You know, I kind of want to think outside the box.
I'm trying to too.
And the only person like I could actually think outside the box and come up with would be a Brook Lopez. He'd be the only person.
The other.
Yeah, he'd be the other. That'd be the only one I'd go with. But when you just kind of look at the splits, Embiid has done very well against the
Bucks.
Against the Bucks. Antetokounmpo, they can run a couple people at him. He's still banged up. So I would go Embiid, or I would go other with Brock.
With Lopez. With other gets you at least Brook Lopez, and then the possibilities of everybody else. Correct. Right? Like if there were someone else to hit a bunch of threes and have just a bigger game, or maybe it's a blowout one way or the other, and you have someone from the second string playing a little bit more, you could see that being the situation. So if you go Embiid here, you go Giannis here, it'll let you know when your pick has been made. As we keep rolling along, we come out west. UCLA has already clinched the Pac-12. Eric, they have a 3-game lead over Arizona. UCLA is a 5.5 point favorite on this line. But for these two teams, and I guess maybe a little different for UCLA, like they could still try to get a 1. Like if they win this game and then win the Pac-12, I think UCLA is a 1 line. They're probably close right now with Purdue kind of for that final 1 line. But that doesn't really matter as far as the point spread in this game, in this particular bet. UCLA 5.5, Arizona plus 5.5. Where do you stand?
I took Arizona just because you look at UCLA, every single one of their losses has come against someone that's within the top 20 in pick and roll defense, and that's where Arizona is. So I just took Arizona plus the 5.5.
Arizona plus the 5.5 for Eric. Honestly, it sounds simple, but in most of these types of pick'em things, whenever there's a UCLA, a USC, or an Arizona up on, or like a Lakers, Dodgers up on the board, I always just go the other way. And I'm a fan of USC, and I'm just usually blindly picking the other way because this is a Santa Anita, Southern California based contest. So a lot of the people that live here are just fans of these teams and they know these teams. So most people that when they're going through this contest, if they're not like a real college basketball fan, like they're just going to pick UCLA. They're like always, or USC. If they're not really a fan of that particular sport, I'm always going to try to go the other way if possible. And you know what? Looking at this, like even simply, I think I saw the line open at UCLA -4.5 in some other places if you were to try to bet this. So if you're going to give me an extra point on Arizona too, I'd probably lean in that direction with Arizona. Eric, I don't even know if I have to ask you this one. Number 9, who's going to have the most wins on the card? Hernandez, Pratt, Dettori, Velasquez? Do I have to ask?
You do have to ask because I'm going a different direction.
Okay, you're going in a different direction.
I went with Pratt. Excuse me. I went with Pratt. I just think he's got more live rides than.
Okay, so Pratt with a couple more live opportunities. For Hernandez, you know what? He just doesn't get as much love as he should. I still, Pratt and Johnny V and Dettori are probably just a little bit more well-known on the national scale. If you look at some of his mounts, like the Funded is one of them who's going to be obviously a very short price. He has a couple real short price horses that are live. Air Force Red, another who should be right on the front end. I went Hernandez with the most wins on the card. Let's finish up with the last couple, Eric. For number 10, it asks us just to pick the winner of race number 11, which is a good race. It's the Grade 1 Kilroe Mile. So who do you like in this race?
I went with the 6 horse,
Hong Kong Harry, and now we're seeing why. Because why you picked Pratt on that question, it makes sense because a couple of your picks today have been Pratt, right? So logically, you would pick Pratt in that. It just makes sense.
Yeah. 3 for 3 at Santa Anita. I think the pace sets up good for the running style.
This is a nice horse, man. He's really a nice horse, Hong Kong Harry. And if you can get him in this situation where it's just pick the winner, he's probably the horse to use. If you're trying to get a little creative or you wanted to get cute, Air Force Red will probably be right on the lead. I think they're going to send him a lot more. Royal Ship's kind of interesting getting back to the turf. Those would be other horses I'd be looking at, including if you want to zig here as we move to number 11, pick the winner of race number 12 at Santa Anita. I like There Goes Harvard. This is the big cap. And There Goes Harvard has a couple poor races most recently, but I think he's set up beautifully for this race. It's like the last one shook a lot of the rust off. We know from a talent standpoint, he actually beat Defunded last year when he was at his best. So I'm using that as a measuring stick for There Goes Harvard. I think you were on Defunded in this one, right, Eric?
I was on Warrant.
There we go. It makes sense again because you're on with Pratt. So Warrant last year was second in this race, and that was the best race of his career. The only time he went 1.25 miles. So he's done like nothing wrong, and he's a tough horse to knock. He's another one that's going to go second, start off the layoff, and should be set up really well for this one. That's Warrant. So I like There Goes Harvard. Eric likes Warrant. Another Pratt for Eric on the Saturday. Thinks he's going to have a huge Saturday. Talk to us about Bus Buzz and Kangaroo Court. Which way are you going to go?
I think this is a true toss-up, so I'm just going to wait because literally one of the good things about this is you don't have to have by the time
locked
you
in.
You don't have to have it locked in until right before race 4. So I'm going to see like which one has less people committed to it because I feel this is a true toss-up and just go with that horse.
Kangaroo Court won by 14.25 lengths in his only race, and that was last year. He had a minor injury. He's been off for a bit. It'll be so interesting to see how much he's grown up and what he looks like here. This should be a prep race for a stakes race for him a little bit down the line, but he has missed a little training here and there. But wow, he's a nice horse, and Bus Buzz has a little bit more recency. But again, Bus Buzz 72% here. Do you go Kangaroo Court 28% on the head-to-head matchup, hoping that he's grown up? He's just developed a little bit. If he's improved at all, he could be really, really nice as a 3-year-old. So there's a look at your Saturday Santa Anita Pick'em contest. It is totally free to enter. Make sure you do so right now. Pick'em.santanita.com. Create that ticket. You are in, you are set, you are ready. It lets you know, sends you emails, and gives you those alerts. Eric, buddy, we'll return for another one of these next week. Good luck to you this weekend with all of your plays. Let everybody know if they want to follow you and get more great sports information. Where can we do that?
At eTalk21 Sports on pretty much every single thing. I have stuff coming out every single day on the weekend. So I'm really pumping some stuff out for everybody.
Eric, buddy, good luck with everything. And we'll talk to you again next weekend. Folks, good luck to all of you in this weekend's Santa Anita Pick'em Prop Contest.